know. I want to know. I don't have a Twitter. Joe does. He's better at that. And because I don't get it. And I'm long winded. So, bust down. Is that funny to you?
Yeah.
Sometimes you know what? I'm about to be long winded
I
again.
know, right?
Hey, my loves, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm Intisar, but you can call me Zar. This is Mr. Joseph. You can call him Mr. Joseph.
No. Don't listen
You
to
can
that.
call him Joe. Oh, we have a friend, and I call him Mr. John. And I had to stop calling him Mr. John because he hated it. Because he thought I was calling him Mr. John because he was old.
But he
motherfucker, we
wasn't
all
old. But he's like a couple years older than us. So
like literally,
he was just in his head about it.
Literally like a couple.
He was just in his head about it. That's all.
He was so in his head, like Mr. John. I call him that because he be very grown with me. He be telling me what it is.
Yeah,
what it is.
He do got a senior spirit though.
Is it? Thank you.
Mr.
First
John
of
got
all,
a senior
everybody started calling him that. The problem was
It called on. The problem was it called on.
I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah.
That's really the problem. Okay, so
because had it not called on,
he wouldn't even care because he know me. I be just saying stuff out of my mouth, so he just be like, "Whatever, sorry."
Yeah,
but that's my brother, and I love him. So shout out to Mr. John and my beautiful sister Tanil. I miss you guys.
Period.
And JoJo, we miss you guys. I'm drinking Sophia Rosé from Monterey County.
I didn't love it. You know.
What was you drinking?
My wife brought me a little thing that makes old fashions. All you do is my wife bought me this thing and you just put your liquor in and then you put an ounce of the old fashioned like premix. And so I just did that. It was perfect. It's crazy.
Oh, honey.
It's weird.
Joe is really good at making drinks. So
yeah.
I bought him all the stuff, like all types of stuff.
Yeah, and that was one of the things. So he can make
drinks. Yeah.
It was perfect.
Oh, weird. Honey, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, today, I came through looking like Khadijah. What show is that?
Living Single.
You don't know.
I do know.
He corny. He don't be knowing, y'all. He don't be knowing. The good stuff. So, I came through in my good old Khadijah fit, okay, because Beyonce Giselle knows Carter came through and dropped the most fire hat I've worn. And I wear
because I don't think
hats.
Khadijah. I think for Formation.
You think Formation?
Immediately, every time I see it.
Yeah, maybe. I'm giving Black Panther. You know what I mean? Esque, but we're super excited to talk about the second half of, or what is the second half for us? Love is Blind.
Yeah,
Love is Blind is a fascinating show. Okay, I'm not really sold on the concept at all. I'm
not sold. We are sold on the concept. We're not sold on the execution, right? Because if you by now, most of you watching this also know that we talk about Married at First Sight, right? And so we can get on board with the concept of Married at First Sight, right? I think the execution there is better. I think the difference here is it's just very poorly executed as far as like. Okay, I don't know if they are actually coerced into saying I love you immediately.
I don't like that.
But it feels like everybody is super forced and everybody is following the instructions, right? Like
it feels like they cue them up. Like,
yeah.
Okay, you need to say I love you 5 times this episode
right.
or in this conversation, or it's not real.
Right.
Because it's like I live with my husband every day. And I tell him I tell you I love you every day.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling Joe I love him all day.
It's just and it's also not forced and it doesn't feel like
disingenuous.
It's a lot of like I'm falling in love right away. Like on Married at First Sight, at least they're just married and everybody can understand the weight of the situation,
so they don't have to force that.
It doesn't feel like
That's
we
true.
we have to fall in love right now. Like some people do some extra, but like it feels like everybody on Love and Blind is like, I fell in love just the minute I heard her voice in the pod. Like, no, you didn't. Like, no, you
You did
didn't.
not.
Everybody didn't fall in
You a
love
liar and the
immediately.
truth ain't
So
in you. But I do think it's it but I do like the concept to your point. I do think that there's some execution things that I don't love,
yeah,
but
because also like they need some experts. They need some counseling, somebody
yeah.
to hold their hand through this process that they're going through with a complete stranger.
But I'm also of the mind that whenever we're doing any dating show, there needs to be a therapist around. Not to say that
Yeah.
people who are in relationships don't need therapists. I'm saying the assumption should be that most couples, healthy couples, seek therapy and counseling.
Yes.
The assumption I'm saying under that assumption, right? So a lot of you singles, y'all, a lot of y'all is slow. I be talking to a lot of single people and I really be like, y'all are on the spectrum. Like we be thinking these, it's some real people out here who really on like the educational, deficit or whatever they call it. No, y'all are slow. These kids is just fine. Y'all are slow. Because the things that people say out their mouth be so fucking fascinating to me. So I'm saying all that to say, let's dig on in and pick up where we left off. We left off at now everybody gets to see each other. We're at the bonfire. Everybody gets to see each other. Shayna has broken up with Kyle, whatever his name is,
Mm-hmm.
and she's seeing Shane. This is her first time seeing him, right?
Yes.
So this was the most fascinating episode because I do think that Natalie and Shane were I did think that they were a relatively good couple. I could see them going the distance. And it was so fascinating to watch. I was so proud of him though when Shane had the conversation with Shayna,
Yeah.
even though I don't understand why he had the conversation with her.
I don't either because I told y'all in part one, avoid that person. Straight up. It's no they have no relevance in your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like y'all don't have kids together. Y'all don't have a bunch of things tied up in each other's name. Like
Yeah,
y'all keep it moving.
literally. Have you had somebody who tried to like, despite the fact that we were, or not maybe we, but like you were in a relationship and they still wanted to like have like
Yes. And you know what you do? You block
what?
them. Blocker, blocker, blocker.
You be blocking people?
Absolutely.
That's so sad.
Absolutely. Because people are crazy and
Hmm.
people do not know how to set boundaries, especially when they don't have to set boundaries, right?
Yeah, like you got to be
You might have a reason to set boundaries. You've moved on, you're in a new relationship, whatever.
right.
And they're not. So they don't care about setting boundaries, right? And
Right.
also, the people from your past still, especially when they have not moved on or they're not, feel in a sense of entitlement. They feel like they are entitled to access to you
Mm.
because of your past. So that's why I'm about team blocker, blocker, blocker.
Joe will block somebody.
Straight up.
It's fascinating. I think it's something to that. And I think that Shayna needed to be blocked out of the entire production
Period.
process.
Production should have blocked
Why
her.
didn't, why didn't production block her?
Just block her.
Like you are no longer needed. Like your services are no longer needed
But
here.
also, people are vindictive and bitter,
And
right?
she is that.
That's what it is too. Because and my brother Lynn said this before, and it was fewer words have been truer. Somebody will not be thinking about you until you are in a committed relationship, and all of a sudden they will set their eyes upon you.
That is a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And so you got to be careful about that, about the energy that you let in and the people that you let even have access to view what you're doing, whether it be social media or whatever. You got to watch that because some people just don't want you to be happy. They just don't want you to see that you are happy and that you are moved on. So there's plenty of reasons to be team blocker.
I guess. Well, Natalie was being filmed or produced like she was trying to keep him away from Shayna. And like not keep him away, but occupy his time while at the
A
bonfire,
1000%.
which rightfully so, because I mean, not even rightfully so. And You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who cares? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
thought that was really fascinating. But I do want to start talking about them singularly. Let's get into Mal. Is her name is Mal?
Mallory, yeah.
Mal and Sal.
Yeah.
Mal and Sal. Um no.
Wait, what?
That is all.
Well, so Mallory and Sal,
I said
you know,
no.
we're all watching this with the full knowledge of how these things ended, right? But in the beginning, Mallory and Sal did seem like they had a little bit of promise. Like we all know that the sketchy beginning that they had with you know, the other people that they were talking to. But overall, Mallory and Sal to me came across as somebody who were into each other, which is why the ending was so shocking with Mallory and Sal. But
What
they
you mean with them not being together or
yeah,
with
with
him
them
deciding to walk away?
with him deciding to walk away because it was
I
like
think he's a man.
but which I can get, but
But not like
he was
that. I mean
giving me
like
like I'm super sold on her. Just from what it was very what's the girl from Married at First Sight? Very
oh
Mirla.
Mirla.
It was very Mirla. Like every
Oh,
like
Lord.
we get to the end and Mirla's like, yeah, I'm done. And we're like, wait, what? Like you was just
It's funny, I didn't feel that way. But
you ain't feel that way. You
you
didn't
want to
think
know
not
why? Because I knew that she wasn't into him.
right, but he didn't give you an indication that he was into her. He seemed completely into her, no?
No, he did, but I think that she indicated that she was not into him.
Right.
And I think he is just a man. I don't think it takes men a lot of time to understand that somebody's just not that into them. I think that, women, we think that we can change people and change things, so we might stick around a little bit longer. I think he just was like, nah, bitch.
I mean, clearly he was.
You know what I mean? I think he just was like, fuck around and find out. Like, no, like, you know what I mean? If you don't want to be bothered, don't be bothered.
The thing about which I can get with everything you're saying, I just feel bamboozled, run amok, led astray.
Oh, that not for them.
Because I didn't get any indication from him from what we saw on tape that he was feeling like nah. You know what I mean? That's all that surprised me. Like I'm not saying his decision wasn't warranted.
Yeah, because he was sure enough saying, y'all.
Yeah, he's singing every chance he get. He's serenading her with a ukulele and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yes. I'm not saying that his.
Not a ukulele.
I'm not. It was right.
And for anybody who needs to hear this, nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to hear you sing with a ukulele. I don't give a fuck if you are the Beethoven of ukulele players. Okay, we do not care. Right? We do not care. It bothers me. And am I a hater? Man, you tell me if I'm a hater or not.
No.
Am I a hater?
Let me tell you, believe it or not, some people, and I think Mal might have been one of those people. I'm not sure. Some people really love that corny shit, bro. Some people really love it.
We have friends, y'all, who are like background singers or whatever the case may be. They live to sing all the time. It is the bane of my existence. I hate going to
and these are people who can, but these are people who can actually
no,
sing.
like I mean, sign.
Like they do this for a living.
No, like big name background singers, full on singers, whatever the case may be.
But that's why I'm saying it's more of a her thing.
It is. I get secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, it's more of a her thing because it's some people out there who really love, like they just love it.
I despise it. Y'all ever see people sing people down the aisle?
Yeah,
you want to see a bitch throw up?
Yeah, man. It only bothers me. It only bothers me when they can't, when they're not good. Like it doesn't matter with her, but I get bothered when they're not. Like I watched the couple from I think it was a Married at First Sight couple. Good. And I forget her name.
They broke up.
They got divorced. Yeah. I forget her name, but she was singing to him, and the whole time I'm like, right?
But she wasn't overdoing it.
No, she was just good.
And they Whitney Houston bag like
but Sal that really tickled you. But Sal wasn't overdoing it. He just wasn't good. So it was awkward for us.
He wasn't good, and he went to school for that shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did.
Why do y'all wait? I just cannot. I just cannot. Well, I'm not surprised Sal and Mallory didn't end up together. She was obviously not into Sal, and Sal picked it up. And Sal is not.
But she was gonna say yes, though. That's the other thing. She was absolutely gonna say yes, because what I was saying in the other video about Mallory, Shake, and Jared, right? Three people who wasn't in the beginning all the way sold on the person that they picked, but all three of them, and y'all let us know in the comments if y'all got this.
Shake
But
ain't shit.
all three of them were going to say yes. Jared was going to say yes, as he did. Shake, if Deep D would have said yes, was that definitely would have said yes. And Mallory was going to say yes. And I think production knew that, which is why they did it the way they did it. So I think
Oh.
that's because we talked about this and it's really a positive muscle to have because we have a family member who we think should maybe exercise this muscle a little bit more. But it's the muscle of
Look, now I'm thinking all hard.
it's the muscle of going, I know that this person is not my typical person, but this might be something that I need to see through. I know that this person might not have been the person that I wanted, but they're the person that I needed, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
so as much as Shake was like, I'm not really that into her attractive, physically, I know that he knew that she was going to be a good wife. He knew the qualities of her, and he was still going to say yes the same way Jared felt, the same way he felt, the same way. So I think that Mallory felt this similarly in that I might not be all into him physically. He's not my typical type, but if I know that he would be a good husband for me, so I'm going to say yes because I'm going to see the process through. And so I think that she was going to say yeah.
Well, her sisters and everybody in her family was not here for the bullshit, and they wanted her to say no. And I can dig it, and I really hope that she finds somebody that kind of works for her. You know what is also funny here? I don't feel like we get the full scope of, in the same way on like Married at First Sight. But you know what this is? This is TLC lifetime editing. They want to make things feel awkward.
They
They
do
want you to
because
have
they
secondhand
man
embarrassment
they tried to
because I don't feel like we know these people
yeah
in the most awkwardness, except for Shane. See, they wanted Shane to look like a fucking nut, and that's why they kept filming him doing nut. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, but I still don't feel like we have like a real understanding of these people. So I have really no. When I said no, that's because I have no stance on either one of them. I'm not invested at all. Um, Sal, do us all a favor and stop singing to people, and
Please, bro.
not because I think that you're so bad, but because we do not care. They're like, we just don't care. We do not care. So let's move on to, and I want to talk about Nick and Danielle. I have so many issues with Nick and Danielle.
A lot. Danielle is uh 5'7", 120
Don't say her weight because
and
she is sensitive.
127
She ain't
pounds.
120. I'm
Uh
165, so
oh,
she
I
can't
don't
be
know.
127.
The point is that she's X and X amount of pounds of red flag. She's just a walking red flag, like in the flesh.
But you know what they said. So y'all, I've been doing deep dives. I really like blind items. I told you what a blind item was,
No,
wasn't I?
what's that?
Yes, I did. If we had a night. That's why you don't remember. A blind item is when you can see. They'll describe the people, but they won't say right out who it is. So you can go on Reddit and you can do like deep dives of who these people are, and they'll say like, so what happened is on, I believe it was Reddit, one of the producers of season 2 kind of went on there and was just like answering all these questions or whatever the case may be, and they said that, and I don't know how true this is, so we're going to take this with a grain of salt,
Mhm.
but they said that Danielle and Nick didn't really have that bad of a relationship. Like it was the way that it was cut to make it look like they were
Well,
arguing
y'all,
all the
I say this
time.
all the time, and the people who watch our Married at First Sight videos know. I say it all the time. I'm giving thought to editing. And maybe it's because I do editing somewhat on a very amateur level.
Yeah.
But I think about it all the time,
Yeah, but you
right?
know how it is like to cut something
Yeah,
and
like,
yeah,
but I
piece
know,
it together.
but I know how easy it is to manipulate something to look a certain
Yeah,
way,
for
right?
sure.
Especially after, I mean, these people, and I know this just from having a friend who actually does this as for a living on a reality show. These people get hours and hundreds of hours of tape,
Yeah,
right? So you can't get me to believe that anybody is one way 24/7.
I agree.
It's just people are too dynamic,
I
right?
agree. I agree. I do think that that's why I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. However, like I enjoyed the meeting Danielle's mother. I do think that she suffers from insecurity. She said that herself.
Yeah.
And meeting her mother, I see where they stem from.
Yes.
You know, her mom gives what do they call that, y'all? When you like main character energy.
Yes.
Like it's about her mama and then like them kids. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It gives that, like, you know what I mean, and it gives that they don't necessarily have the most intimate relationship with one another, the mother and daughter wise.
Which that's a red flag in
You
itself.
think some
Oh,
of these
1,000.
mamas don't be right though? Some of these kids don't be right.
And that's a red flag. I think I think any and this is just me playing the percentages. I just
Oh,
think
okay.
any woman you meet and she tell you she don't fuck with her mom, that's a red flag.
What did she say? She don't fuck with her dad.
Not necessarily a red flag to me.
Why?
Because I feel like you'd be hard pressed to meet a woman who ain't got daddy issues. Some on some level.
Even if they daddy around,
Even if
child.
they daddy,
That
you know
is
what I
a
mean?
very
So
fact. That's a fact. Because a daddy issue could be, I expect you to do everything because my daddy did everything.
right, right,
That could be a daddy issue too.
right. A daddy issue could be my daddy was amazing,
Yes.
and I want you to literally be my daddy.
Yes.
You know what I
And if
mean?
you can't be my daddy, then go ahead
Yeah,
about your
right,
business.
right.
No, for real. Okay. So I can I know what you put deal. But I think that what I do love, and love is a big, big word, and I want to use it, is how Nick gathers Danielle at every turn.
Bro, but it's so
It's exhausting. He got to be
exhausting. He
tired.
gotta be
He
tired because
got
I'm
to be
tired of
tired.
watching it.
And it's kind of like she is a self saboteur. We spoke about this a little bit in our Married at First Sight thing, where like the whole time she wanted to have a good relationship with him, but she just physically could not.
Nah,
Um,
she couldn't do it.
she just couldn't let it be good. You know what I
They could be
mean?
talking about water and him putting lemon in his water. And she would just be so like somehow it would end up in this contentious debate about water and lemons.
But
And
y'all
you'd be like,
wanna?
how did we get here? But you could see on Nick's face that he's also thinking, how did we get here?
Can I tell y'all how this is how you can tell if you a self saboteur or not? Say you and your in the room, you and like you and your man talking about something, y'all just talking or whatever like that, and he'll be like, you know, remember that time we went. You remember that time we had that meal or whatever the case may be, and it was so good. And then you would be like, wrong
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I listen, I get Danielle because I'm the a wrong bitch queen, wrong bitch.
Right.
And she'll be like, who was it then?
Right.
Even just now, y'all, I put my mouth on the mic. I was like, I don't know where this mic been.
Oh my God, I just bought this mic. All right. These mics are new.
I get it. We all have like a little bit of it. So that's why I kind of get her. But I just pray. The problem is that sometimes when we have these behaviors, we are doing these things and we don't understand how that molds the other person.
Oh yeah, how it affects them.
Right. So then you create a whole brand new monster
Yeah.
by these toxic traits,
Could you
right?
also are you become the person who is constantly trying to avoid stepping on certain landmines,
Yeah, for sure.
right? Where there really shouldn't be any. You know what I mean?
For
Like
sure.
if I feel like you can't ever remember anything, I'm careful about the memories that I bring up. You don't want to create a contentious moment, especially when you kicking it. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And
Did he
that could
used to
just
do that with us?
oh yeah, for sure.
Cause he know first of all, cause he be having one idea how things went down, and then I be having another idea, and then I be like, no, it did not do the case.
But it could, but
But it does make it contentious to
yeah,
your
right.
point. And I mean, maybe not now, but
No,
I'm certain there
but
was a
yeah,
time.
and
You
in
know
a
what I
light
mean?
moment, you like I don't
I
even
don't even want to be doing this shit with
because
you.
it might be a light comment like, remember there was a can of
Yeah.
dry can. Remember when
And
we
I be
went to
like, no,
the Grand Canyon? You like, bro,
that
this
was
is
your other bitch.
yeah.
Toxic. Okay. But I can say that, you know what I mean? That's self awareness. And I'm just hoping that Danielle does. What's funny is that she does say, like, I'm insecure, whatever the case may be. And I get it. I would be insecure too. Nick is
But
obviously on a spectrum.
the problem, but the problem with Danielle, with her insecurities, is that she will say that she is aware of the fact that she's insecure, but
And
she
still do that stupid shit.
it doesn't seem like she's sensitive to those insecurities popping up. She'll just say like, I know I'm insecure, but
Deal with it.
right. It's almost like that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know I'm an alcoholic, but hand me that
And
drink.
right,
And it's
right.
like you should at least be policing yourself more of
For
like, I know I'm
sure.
insecure. So even in conversation, like, I know I can jump to conclusions. So tell me if this is me doing that, right? She doesn't even do that. It's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm insecure. And then it's like they're talking about pizza, and she's like, are you saying I'm fat because I like pizza? And he's like, what? I would never say that. And then
Well, we
it's a
know,
whole, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
we know she insecure. Nick done contorted himself, flipped himself into a motherfucking pretzel, trying
Oh
to get
man.
us like understand that. Like, listen, we trying to be together, and I think that first of all, it's also an age thing too, right? Nick is older than Danielle, and I think that that has something to do with it too. And I'm saying this from a space at dating and being with somebody who is much older than me, and the confidence that that person had, right? And how at the time insecure I was. You know what I mean? Like I could never, and he was a white man. So like to be that's a level of confidence not many people, even in the most mediocre state, right, of a white. And I mean that with all due respect. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying like there's a level of consciousness and confidence that white people have the ability to reach because they don't have any, you know, outside of a white woman, they really don't have any back anything holding them back, right? So imagine being in that state and then you're with somebody and you're younger, she's younger than him, and he's like fully like I am who I am, like you know what I
Mhm.
mean, and trying to live up to that space and be a certain way. I can understand how she can come off insecure. But I did love, I was so surprised by his family. Were y'all the only people
Oh, I was
surprised?
shocked by the family because I just
But they
was like,
all look alike.
they look alike, but
But his
they don't
different,
look like they came from the same place.
which is fascinating.
And that really threw me.
It threw me. And y'all could take that wherever y'all want to take it.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it is what it
Because
is.
y'all picking up what we putting down.
Yeah.
Okay. But inversely, her mother, I was surprised. I wasn't that surprised about. And I also wasn't surprised that her hair was dark. Danielle, that is.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
You know what I mean? Like she gives black sheep. She gives. She wants to lean into like
Hmm.
I'm oppressed in my life. La, la,
Yeah.
la, la. So I'm excited for them. He was sweating like a dog up there, y'all. If y'all having weddings
Which
outside, go ahead,
y'all
baby.
have to be mindful of the sun. Like period. And not only for yourself, because we had this conversation because we when we got married, we were talking about the outside thing. And I just was like, I just do not want to be up there in a
4 days before the wedding.
I mean
It was
in a
like a
tuck.
week before the wedding, and you said it got hot one day, and you were
No, no,
like,
no. But remember, I said
"Oh,
months
before that,
before,
yeah,
I
you
said I
did,
didn't want. Originally, I said I didn't want to get
you
married
did,
outside because of the aspect of the sun. And
yeah."
it's funny because we had just been to a friend's wedding, and I watched the groom standing over in the corner just ruin his suit. He was just dripping in sweat, and you know
Oh,
how I sweat. I'm like, and I told her, I said, I just that cannot be me. Like I can't be in this fly ass tux from the head down, just be dripping in sweat. And then the other aspect of it
can you
was,
believe we married?
I can believe it.
I
The other
can't.
aspect of it was I was in the audience as well at that wedding,
Yeah,
and I refused to sit down while we were waiting for the bride. I'm like, I'm
yeah.
not gonna sit
He
down.
like text me like, where
Literally,
are we?
like I'm not gonna sit
I wasn't.
down
Yeah,
because everybody is sitting here just getting roasted under the sun. Y'all got to
you
be
got to
mindful
be
of that, bro.
conscious of that, and that's what was fascinating because I know Chicago. Chicago do get hot in the summertime.
Chicago has
I love
no
Chicago.
medium. It's
It really
either
don't. It's either
hella hot
hot or
or hella
cold.
cold.
I
Period.
know, and it gets sticky too. Yeah, so I felt relief. I felt for that man because
I
he was
did
sweating.
too.
It wasn't even a good look.
No, he
It
looked
was
like
given
he had just played
withdrawal,
a game of basketball. Like,
or going through a coke withdrawal.
yeah, that's what it looked like.
Either-
But even the minister was sweating. Like
he
you could see the
was.
minister was sweating. I'm
He
like,
was going through a coke withdrawal too.
no, nothing. But I'm like, yo, like some this is somebody in production. Let's get in some. some
umbrellas.
umbrellas or
So
something.
what
You know
we
what I mean?
did, not that y'all asked,
Story
but I'm
time.
about to tell y'all anyway. A week before the wedding, it was really hot.
It just got even more hot.
It
Yeah,
just got super hot.
because
No, we went up to the venue
we went up to the venue because what I did raise the concern about the
in the
heat,
beginning.
and the thing that curbed it was the time of day that we picked our wedding. We assumed
Yeah,
like because she said it'll be later and the sun will be going down. It won't be a thing. So I said okay, but then we went up there around the time of day that we're
literally.
and it was hot, and I'm like
In
nope.
Burbank, in the valley,
And that was like a week before the wedding.
and we were on the hunt. Do you
Yeah.
hear me? For umbrellas. So we got an umbrella for our platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then we purchased, which was the greatest, most. I don't
I
even know if
will.
we have a clip of
We
everybody with the
do.
parasols.
Yeah.
We
We
bought.
have a wedding video.
We
Go
do
after
have a wedding video.
after this, after you watch this, just scroll down a little bit and you can watch our wedding video.
But we had parasols for our guests as well. So we had them sitting in like a circle. That shit looks so motherfucking fly.
It was fly.
To this
I'm
day,
so glad we did
it
it
was fly as hell,
for
bro.
multiple reasons. Not even for the sun, but it just added. But it also saved people from sweating. And people come out
People
dressed.
loved it.
People come out dressed. You can't be having your guests in
And it
there.
was black tie, so everybody
Yeah,
was in suit. And we were a little. The point is get your shit together because we know that they
that's the point.
filmed it like 4 or 5
They
times.
had to.
So that poor man was up there. He was going through it. But let me tell you something, Nick. Start cursing her the fuck. Let me tell you. No, I'm kidding. Don't curse her out, Nick. But I think that once they get married, though, I think she's gonna be she's gonna do a 180.
No, she's not gonna do a 180 until she goes to therapy.
Touche,
She got
my
a lot of deep
touche.
rooted issues that she got to get together on her own. And she has been blessed with a man
With
who is
patience.
patient and understanding. Cause I think I'd have been throwing a curse words her way. Like, are you
You
fucking?
think you would be?
I
Let me tell
know.
you something.
I know.
Joe got only as much patience as Joe got. Nobody will ever know how much that is.
Yeah.
Nobody on any given day
Yeah.
change.
She wouldn't have. She wouldn't have. She would have tried my patience too much.
Let me tell you something. That's that Pisces energy, y'all. God bless y'all.
She literally will try him repeatedly in the same sitting, and he's Neo in the Matrix trying to
Yeah,
avoid.
he like ding, ding,
He's
ding, ding,
trying to
ding.
avoid
Yeah.
an argument. Like he's like, no, that's not what I said.
Oh my god. Let's move on. I'm done talking about them.
Yeah.
Okay, who else? Oh, let's talk about Shake
And
and Deepty. Another no. Okay. Deepty said, I'm choosing me.
Another thing that threw me for it threw me
It
for a
threw me for
loop.
a loop. It threw me for a loop as well because we all saw, and this might be, is this racist or racial? What is it? Racist or
Racial.
racial, right? Part of me, and y'all tell me what y'all think. I thought when you have somebody who aligns with your values and aligns with
That was just your phone.
okay. Align. Sorry, they always they always try to hit me up. Aligns with your values, aligns with your culture. I think that it can sometimes be, especially how deep rooted Indian culture is. It could be a recipe for something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all made this Hindu man get up there, say all these words, do all y'all had this whole barrage, all this stuff like that, for you to get up there and say no. That's what was whack to me.
That was whack. It made me think that she knew something else that we did not know.
She for sure knows something else because she
had a battery in her back. It wasn't just like no,
and rightfully so.
It was like no and fuck you. Like, and it was like, wait,
and right, but
how did we get here? Like, what happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because at the bachelorette party, she knew.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like she wanted to stick it to him. That's what it was like. It wasn't a like. Sal struck me as the type like he just made the decision
right
in a month.
Yeah.
But Deepti was like on some waiting to excel, like I'm finna burn your car next, right after this. You know,
it is trash.
And yeah, and it just it caught me off guard because I thought that even with again with some of the statements that she made, she was correct in the sense of like feeling like meaning I can understand her saying like I want somebody who's super sure about me and
period,
like, blah blah blah. Like I get all of that,
and she's absolutely correct.
And she's absolutely correct. I get all of that. At the same time, it felt like she also, especially being from an Indian culture where arranged marriages are a thing, it felt like she also understood the process of like, hey, my parents got married
Yeah.
and didn't know each other for a week, and there's going to be rocky moments where like how sure can you be about a motherfucker you just met fucking 5 days ago, right? So that's why I was surprised because I thought that she also felt like he's the one thing he was committed to the process, right? Because
Who?
Shane, I mean,
Shake.
I'm sorry, Shake, right? Shake. The one thing was he was very transparent about even when he sat down and talked to her. He was very transparent about his feelings, but never indicated like I'm out, but I got one foot out the door. He was saying like this is something that I'm dealing with, but I'm here, you know.
Okay.
But he also even doubled down on the fact that I'm also here because my parents also got married at first sight, kind of, and I'm sure that they told him like because his mom did on camera told him she's a good woman, figure it out, you'll figure it out, right? And I'm
Yeah,
sure,
because his mom was like, it's you the motherfucking problem,"
but not only that,
which
just
I appreciate a girl.
but not only that, just speaking to the fears of like being married, kind of having arranged marriage, right? Like these things are warranted. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna, you'll figure. Look at me and your dad. We've been married for 30 something years, and
Hmm.
we just figured it out. So I think he was leaning into the fact that like I came up in a household that was loving, and they met at the altar pretty much, you know.
But y'all know what we need to talk about? We need to talk about people hating themselves. Shake hates himself. He hates Indian culture. He hates that he's different and that he can't necessarily assimilate as a white man.
I
And
think he has assimilated as a white man.
well,
You
once
understand
you
what I'm saying?
start possessing white women and white culture, I think you're absolutely right. I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong with Deepti, and I want to say that. And I don't even. I'm big on saying people's names. I think it's absolutely nothing wrong with her. I think that she's beautiful. I think she's in his league or far and above out of his league. There was no reason except for the fact that she looks like my aunt. Are you kidding me? Deepti looks like your aunt. Like it just was
He just
giving
wasn't attracted to
internalized
her.
hatred.
Yeah, I think
And
he
he's the
just
only child.
well that explains a
So,
lot.
girl, you dodged a bullet.
That explains a lot. But at the same
Only child, only boys, as a woman dating men, the worst.
he that explains a
The
lot.
worst.
I think he just wasn't attracted to her, but I don't think that was going to deter him from saying yes. If I had to bet money, if it was a prop bet, I would have bet that he was going to say yes.
No, no, I think he was going to say yes if she said yes. I do think they had issues. I think that it was wrong of him. The problem is that honesty is such a fascinating thing, right? Because I'm okay with him saying that he wasn't as into her based on her looks or whatever the case may be. But I also can say like you still ain't shit. Just because you was honest about it, but this is the problem with
So
other.
do you? I'm about to say because
Go ahead, go ahead.
do you feel like he shouldn't have been honest about it?
I think let me tell you why I say he's not shit. I do think he should have been. I don't have any problem with him being honest with her about it. The issue I had is that everybody knew the narrative. Everybody knew that she looks like my auntie or this and that. It
So
was
you thought he shouldn't have been honest with other people about it?
I thought that that's what made him look bad. Yeah. I thought that, like, to be honest with her about it is real, right? But then to say that to everybody else, like, he wanted it to be a thing and he wanted affirmation. That's why I think it's wrong.
I think he
Because he
wanted
wanted
to
to say it to other people so that he could be like, so somebody could be like, oh,
see.
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? That's what makes
but
you.
I also it's a twofold thing.
It is a twofold.
It's a twofold thing
It
because
is.
I also feel like he was saying that the people who he knew would check him.
His friends
He
was
said it
like,
to his
bro,
mom.
like, you a silver fox right now.
Yeah, but I think he said it to people who he knew would check him because he knew he needed to be checked on that.
But I
Because
think
he would have, especially not like nobody knows his mom like he knows his mom, right? And his mom
and she gave it to
she
him
gave it to him, so there's no way he didn't know that
that
she
she
would
was
give
gonna
it
do
to
that.
him, right?
Right.
So
True.
he
True.
said it thinking like, you know what, let me go check myself by going in here and being honest with her about it. You know what I mean? Because I think he was leaning into the fact that this is what I've been doing, and now I'm going to do something different because I know I should do something different. And that's why I was giving him a little bit of credit, because I feel like a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people say she just not my type, or he just not my type. And it's like, your type has got you here on this show dating
Dummy.
50 million people. You know what I mean?
Y'all be dumb. And that's the truth. I really just think that, and the biggest issue I have with Shake is that I think Shake is attractive, and I think that because he's such a good looking man, he should be a better man.
What you mean?
He is not a good person.
No, why? No, that's not true. Why would you say that?
I just find him to be sex forward, and sex
But you
forward and
said that
sex
was. But you
positive are
said
two different
you
things.
also said that was very.
I'm going to say this, and I told Joe this. I told Joe this. I did tell you this. I think I told you this not talking to y'all, but
No, I think you did. But if I think you gonna go ahead though.
wait a minute, are we going to the same
I think
place?
so. But
I've dated. I'm international beauty, so I've dated just about everybody, um, from most different races, right? And I think that Americanized Indian men are sex forward.
so that's what I meant. That's where I was going. Like that's
Yes.
it might be a thing
And I'm
of a cultural
specific
thing.
about Americanized because I think that there's something to having the excess, that access and excess
Yeah.
that Americans are what is the word? Have uh
The ability to assimilate.
and I think that I think he's that guy. I think
Yeah.
that, you know
But
what
I
I
don't
mean?
think he's a I don't think
But
he's I don't think he's a bad person, because
I don't
I
know.
think
I think if you don't like your people, you're a bad
no, no,
person.
no, but he was willing, he was about to. He was about to marry his
And
people,
he
right?
was going to cheat.
We can't even put that on him.
Let me tell you
But
something.
listen what I'm
And
saying.
also being a mistress of an Indian man, because
But
I was,
but
they cheats. Okay.
but listen to what I'm saying though. I'm saying that I think that I don't want to put on him that he's a bad person, because I think that everybody has their thing, right?
And I don't want to put that on all Indian men because some of y'all really do be loving your wives and holding them down. So that was just for that particular
And
motherfucker that I'm
and
saying.
and everybody has their thing that may have been holding them back in the dating process.
Hmm.
And I think that to recognize your thing and then to go against it is big, because most people don't. Most people end up single or sabotage relationships because they hold on to their thing. That's
Oh,
what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So, and
okay.
that's big to me. That's a bit. That's because I know a lot of people who is
He's a
gonna hold
fuck
on to their
bull.
thing.
He's a fuck bull, but okay. And he gonna
No,
keep.
he used to be.
Huh.
Well, we don't know that he used to be either.
Shake ain't no good. Did you see his friends know he ain't no good? They was looking at him. He describing Deep T, and they looking at him like, "What is your problem?"
But that's because Deepthi is a good. Is look at you. That's because Deepthi
Look at
is.
you.
That's because I'm trying to help you out. That's because Deepthi is it is a catch,
Yes,
and I think, but I think Shake realized that, and that's why he was gonna say yes. I think that's why he was gonna say yes, because he realized it.
and I think the families were excited to meet
Of
each
course, and he knew
other.
his mom was excited. He was man. Let me tell you, the one thing about these Indian culture, Asian culture, Indian cultures, they're gonna get excited when they see the people come through the door, and for no other reason. They don't know personality. They like, I'm so glad it's you. Know, they just glad you're Indian, or they're
I
just
cannot.
glad you're Asian. That's just the culture.
I think
But we like that too. Black people like that too.
yeah. So everybody gets their turn. So let's move on because Deep D gonna thrive and Shake gonna be all right. Let's talk about Shayna and Natalie. Shane
Shane
and
and
Natalie,
Natalie.
excuse me. I was surprised. I don't know if you guys were, but I was surprised.
Yeah, I was. This is another one that threw me. I mean, I also feel bad because
The parents looked like they were so hurt.
I feel like everybody was hurt.
The mama was like looking at the other mama, and they was like,
But you know what this told me?
"What?"
Natalie, you are not built for this. And when I say built for this, I don't mean to be on Netflix or to be on Love is Blind. I mean, you're
But they
not you're not built for marriage. You know what I mean? Like
this is a funny conversation. Go ahead,
let me
babe.
tell you what I think happened.
Okay, go ahead.
I think Shane and Natalie, um, like any couple who's only been together for a hot minute, might have had a little bit of, tussle, a little bit of back and forth. But y'all ain't been together long enough to have no real knockdown, drag out arguments, right? If we being real, y'all had something that was close to a big knockdown, drag out argument, and you literally threw in the white flag. And I think that this is why not having the stomach to 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 be in a marriage or to be in a long-term committed relationship, this is to me the reason why you are on this show, because I think that Natalie is a catch. I think that she's a smart girl. I
I
think
think
that
she's a
I
beautiful
think she's
girl.
cute. I think
Yeah,
she has a cute
I
personality.
agree.
My favorite line on the show is, "Do you want to be murdered?"
That is, I am like, do you want to be
My
murdered?
favorite line on the show is from her, right? So I'm
Love.
a I'm a Natalie fan.
I agree.
But I
I
think, and I
agree.
think that the reason why she's even made it to this point in life and been single is because she doesn't have the stomach for relationship. She doesn't have the stomach for marriage. And I think that that's what this was about. And I think the reason why the families were so sad is because they knew it and they saw it playing out again
For both of them.
for both of them.
But Shane is obviously on. First of all, they need to get Shane like a better cocktail, Adderall, and Klonopin.
Oh,
He needs a Xanax.
he was doing this the whole time.
The poor baby
Like
is obviously on
he
something,
was rolling.
and the Reddit thing said he was on testosterone and cocaine. Which, why are you taking testosterone? What does that do for men?
It's
I
a
know,
it's
I
a
know
it's
what
a workout
I
thing.
know what testosterone does for men, but oh, it's a workout thing.
Yeah.
Also, talking about working out, Shane, love you to death. Let's go up a size,
Yeah, bro.
just one.
Stop with the
It's a
small
little,
macho man shirts.
yeah, because we know you got
We
muscles,
cannot do that, bro.
but it's not
Wear your size,
giving.
bro.
Like the Incredible Hulk look is only good
It's not a
for
vibe.
David Banner.
Yeah, it's not a vibe.
Okay, like
It's
it's
not
not
good for nobody.
and David
Let's be
Banner is
clear.
wearing regular
Yeah, it's
clothes.
not good for nobody. Wear your size, bro.
It's just not good. So, not really into that. It's so sad because the mamas was really going through it, and it's also sad that like you feel like, first of all, she shouldn't feel disrespected. It's two things is happening here, right? To your point about having a stomach for marriage, people argue, right? And there is an aptitude or a spectrum by which somebody is okay with how far an argument goes. I think I said that right.
Yes.
And I think that people are right to have their boundaries. You know what I mean? Like um I think I don't see anything wrong with having your boundaries about what is okay and what is not okay. But to your
But what she
point,
said was, because I agree with that, but I'm gonna just step in it because what I heard, and correct me if you heard something different and in the
I'm
comments.
about to take my edible. So yo,
She
oh, my Eddie Blitzer.
what I heard was he said he hated me. Like if that's where your boundary is, you ain't got the stomach for this.
I told Joe I hated him on
Every day,
Thursday.
this morning, she just woke up and turned over and
I
said,
literally had to tell. I treated Joe. I could tell Joe was so nervous. Joe ain't say nothing to me before he left. Joe talks to me every time before he leaves. Like he lets me know he's leaving out or whatever, gives me a kiss. And I could tell wherever my energy was, he was just too afraid to even come and try me this morning.
like,
He didn't even say nothing. He
like,
was like, "Oh no, not today. I'm gonna try again tomorrow." That I sent a message and say, "Hey, just checking on you," because I knew my energy was not giving. I'm accessible at this moment.
you know,
But to your point, the stomach.
having a stomach, like, you know what I mean? Like, all he gotta say is, I hate you so much right now. You gotta recite the verse to a song, and you done with him for life.
Marriage is such a
That's
fascinating
you ain't going.
thing.
That ain't gonna be the hardest thing you go through in a marriage.
But you know what I
Period.
argue? Want to argue though. If I'm keeping it 1,000, I don't think a lot of you motherfuckers is built for a marriage.
I would agree with that though,
If we talking about like
especially in the age of social media.
long term marriage, and what y'all are, somebody's going to be in the comments tussling. Like, no, I don't have the stomach for abuse, or I don't have the stomach for this, or I don't have the stomach for that, right? You're absolutely right, right? But that's why we're talking about the boundaries of things, right? The problem is that marriage is such a, I always call it a test in jail. right?
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is like literally a constant state of you want your cornbread, like you know what I
Straight up.
mean. Like it's a constant state of that because and not in a bad way. There's so many, I mean, amazing things about being like amazing things about being married, but there are moments where you feel like because what the closest get the mostest. That's what my mom used to say.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to say, "Y'all could tell me how y'all feel all day and night. Your father come around, y'all ain't got shit to say." You know what I mean? When your daddy in your face, y'all want to be all quiet. Everything is fine. But when I'm here, y'all got all these grievances. Y'all want
Yeah.
to have a union and all this shit like that,
Not
right?
a union.
But that's real, right? Because she was so close to us, we had no problem with like, no, I'm not doing this because she understood our personalities. So sometimes you don't have an issue showing somebody the lowest frequency of you. Hear me? The lowest frequency of you because you know they have seen the highest.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that even in this lowest moment, this person will somehow, some way, even though I know it, because sometimes you get so mad, you know you mad. Like, and when I mean mad, I mean like a rabid dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay, but you know that like you just hope that whatever grace you got stored or somebody, however much grace somebody invested in you, you can cash that in that during that time.
Yeah.
And everybody don't fight like hard all the time, but I would argue when I first moved to LA, me and Joe was fighting every week. Me and Joe maybe fight every 90 days now. Maybe. It's seasonal. It's seasonal and y'all gonna think this is weird. It's tied to my menstrual cycle. And I know that sounds weird, but I think about the last time we had an argument and the time before that, and I remember me being like, "Oh my," like you know what I mean? Like, so I'm saying all that to say that I think that when you talk about the stomach that people have for marriage, I just don't think that in this day and age, a lot of y'all have longevity built into y'all.
I would agree with that 1,000%. And
Adversity.
some adversity, and somebody said something very poignant. I think it was on Love and Bond, but because we watching the both Jones at the same time, it's sometimes it gets confused. So pardon me, but they said something to the effect of you always thinking you could just swipe right. You always thinking better is a swipe away. That's the
That
social
was on this one.
that's the social media age of
And
like,
that's what I'm
and
getting
that's
at.
what I'm nervous about. I'm nervous about the generation coming up behind us because they are they are the meat and potatoes. They are the heart of thinking it better is just one swipe away. I ain't got to deal with this.
It's some of you
Everything's a
millennials too.
two. Everything's the deal breaker. Everything's I'm done with this. Next, thank
Yeah.
you. Next, swipe away. I mean, it's even in this, even in the cultural aspect of where we are now, where it's every other song is thank you next, and
Yeah.
the songs that my parents grew up to was like. I love you, even though you tried to cut my neck. Like
Yeah.
it was the
And
opposite.
not to say that that's toxic.
That's toxic because we every generation has theirs,
Right.
and that's toxic. But
Yeah.
the just the just the funny juxtaposition of like that's really what they were singing about.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be to the end of time, and
And
we singing don't give a fuck about da 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 da.
but
da,"
you know
like you know
what?
what I mean?
To your point, and I'm bringing this up. I'm cloudy, y'all. I've been drinking rosé. But what I'm thinking is that there's also, the argument can be made that the reason why marriages aren't the same as they were, right, is because women are in a space where they can do for themselves. They don't need men to get credit or homes or whatever the case may be. Excuse me. So now we can be like women can be self-sufficient, so they don't really need a man. So when a man act up, they can be like, whatever, I'm going to the next guy. Which honestly, part of me
Which is
gets. I
false because
have a
we all need each other. You understand what I'm saying?
that's first of all, yes,
And that's science.
but I
That's what my
have.
biology class told me that for humanity
We
for
gotta get off your
no,
line.
listen,
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say this: for humanity to exist, we need each other. I'm gonna say it like that. Otherwise, we
Okay,
would all wither away and literally die.
okay, I think you're right, but I do think that there's something to women, we got a new attitude. You can't just be doing and saying and doing whatever the fuck you want to be doing. Because that's so I do get Natalie, but I want to circle back that I do think people be having unrealistic
Yeah,
expectations
because
of
if you think you're gonna
people
be in a relationship
and
where
somebody.
nobody don't say nothing nasty to you ever in life, you're bound to drizzle.
Don't say that, Joe. I think
You
no.
understand what
I
I'm
think
saying?
not
Like
say
this.
anything nasty. I think
No, I'm
maybe specifically that.
yes, because everybody has a low moment.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
So people with somebody, your spouse will absolutely say something nasty to you. And it's there's levels to it. I'm not saying they're gonna degrade
right.
you, but I'm
Okay.
saying your spouse will
Okay.
1000% have a low moment with you. Period. And if
And do you love your spouse if you don't say, "I hate this motherfucker"?
I mean, let's just be real. Because let's be honest about
Because
it.
you have to
Let,
have love in order to have
let's
hate.
be honest about it. Name the child who hasn't said that about their parent.
Let me tell you something. This is a true story. One time, my mom got on her so bad, and I wrote on the radiator in pencil, "I hate this stupid bitch."
But
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 I spelled bitch Bicth. My mom said, "Which one of you stupid motherfuckers?"
But I think any parent will tell you, even the best child, even the child that was the most easiest to raise, they've had a moment of contention with that child because that's life.
A
That's just
thousand
life.
percent.
So we have, and I'm that's what I'm speaking to. I think we are watching a generation of people grow up that just don't have the stomach to do life with another person. Like the minute things get contentious, the minute things get nasty, is so I could just hop back on
And you know what?
harmony meetsharmony.com or whatever.
That brings us back to the conversation that we had this weekend about how, or maybe just yesterday, about how, people really, the romantic love that y'all create in your mind is really fascinating to me. And if I'm keeping it a
It's
100,
fascinating.
because I love to say if I'm keeping it a 100, but if I'm keeping it a 100, a lot of y'all are not going to get romantic love.
Yeah, it's not
It's
for
just not for everybody.
it's not for
Like, you know
everyone.
what I mean? And it's primarily because love comes with so, and this sounds so fucked up, but I'm going to say it, so much pain and not struggle. Like, I don't think struggle, I think in the most ethereal state of being in love, you experience some pain, excruciatingly so. And that's the only way you can discern that it's that or something else,
Mm-hmm.
and I know y'all think, oh no, that's struggle love, y'all gonna be tussling in the comments, child. But I'm telling y'all, I think it's something too, and not that pain is equated to love, but that your constitution with how you handle pain, you yourself as a human autonomously, will allow you to allow somebody else to come into your life and provide you with love.
Straight
Ooh,
up.
child,
Because
bitch.
because let me tell you, because to your point, the
Confucius in this
opposite
bitch.
the opposite of love
It's
is
hate.
no, the opposite of
Oh, it's
love,
indifference.
the opposite of love is not hate. It's
It's
indifference.
indifference.
And we can go really deep into that, but the people who understand. The opposite of love is not hate. It's
Yeah.
indifference.
Because if he said, bitch, I don't give a fuck about you, now, bitch, you should have left
That's
then.
when you leave. That's when you need to leave. Pack your shit and go.
Cause I get. I mean, I don't know. Me and Joe got a checker pass, and we got a. I don't want to say that sounds bad, but I think that we have history, so I think our perspective comes from a different space. You know what I mean? I genuinely don't know how y'all do it. I don't know. This single bitch. Oh, I'm about to tell you. Oh, child, I'm going in. I don't know how y'all do it. I think a lot of y'all is weird. If I'm being, and not because y'all single, it's how y'all single. Like the stories that y'all tell yourselves to affirm why you in the
Why
position
you
y'all
made the decision that you made.
be weird as shit. You know what I mean? And granted, I don't feel that way about Natalie. I think that they had a lot more issues than what was being shown, because
That's
that's what the
possible
Reddit
too.
thing said. The Reddit thing said they was arguing all the time. Inversely, Danielle and Nick weren't. So they were just catching what they were arguing about and showing that, where Shane and Natalie, they wanted it to be,
That's always
oh,
that
this
play. Yeah.
interracial. I believe that. I do believe that they were
Yeah.
had more problems, because ain't no way after one argument and he say he hate me, am I going
Yeah.
to
That's
be
weird.
like,
That's just too
but
weird.
I'm built different too. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
So that's why that's we don't know. Like you said,
we
it
don't
could. It's
know.
very possible that it could have been one or the other. Um, and my assumptions are just built off of seeing it one way on camera.
For sure.
But it's very possible that that when these people edit this stuff, everybody has a narrative in line. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody has a storyline for each couple or each person.
Mhm.
Each person has a storyline and a character that is going to play out on film. And sometimes I was telling her editing something the other day, the edit will tell the story, right? You'll
Mhm.
start sometimes we'll start editing something.
I don't remember you saying that to me.
Yeah, it was.
Toxic.
We'll have footage of something and
Oh,
the
okay.
footage just won't match what's happened. What the
Yeah.
first 40
He was so
minutes
mad at me. Yeah.
I was. The first 40 minutes might tell a different story than
Mhm.
whatever that you have in the bank. And you just have to go with that because it makes sense, right?
Mhm.
And I think that I take that into account, like I said, when I'm watching some of these things. So I give it weight. If somebody says it's possible that it was this, I'm like, all right.
Good luck to
Yeah,
Shane
for real.
and Natalie girl call me. First of all, I really want to take the time to apologize to this man because I was really giving him the business. And Mr. Jared, and I'm calling you Mr. because I have to tuck my tail, okay? But I'm not too old that I can't eat no crow. All right. I really want to say it has been beautiful to watch you guys kind of ascend
Hmm.
into something, you know, I want to say I'm into love, but y'all aren't there yet. But y'all going there.
Hmm.
It's really been beautiful to watch, and I love your family. I love your mama. I love your pappy. I love your sister. I just think that it's so beautiful to watch black people raise black men to be good guys, and I just really want to say sorry, okay? Cause I ain't too big. Sorry to that man.
I'm sorry to that me. Uh and I am
You sorry for me?
I'm not surprised. No, I'm not surprised at. I think that I said once they said yes after the pod situation that I thought that they would make it to
I did
decision
not
that
like how he was talking to Mallory. Still don't.
right. I don't either.
Still don't.
But that was my issue with them having the conversation at
In the
all
first
because
place,
I
yeah.
thought that they weren't in a place where they could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you also got to be real about where you are emotionally, and I think that they weren't. But nevertheless, I
Okay,
think
honey.
I think that I thought that they were going to get to decision day and say yes and move forward because relationships have started in weirder ways.
Mhm.
And I do think, like I said about Shake and who was it Mallory, I do think that he saw the value in Ayana and and
Oh,
un,
it's hard not to.
and
It's
understood,
hard
like, you
not
know
to.
what,
She's
this
regal.
is I'm gonna rock with this. It might
Yeah.
not be my usual or whatever, but this is for me, and I'm gonna see it through, and I think that they gonna be all right.
The only thing I want Ayana not to do. So, first of all, Ayana, and I really want to call this out because we were watching adult adoption thingies.
Oh Lord Jesus.
But Ayana was an adult who was
By
adopted.
adults adopting adults. If y'all haven't seen it, at least watch 5 seconds of one
You
episode
gotta you
because
gotta
you
watch the
probably
first
won't be
episode.
able to make it past that.
It was so cringy,
It's cringy.
but this didn't feel cringy to me.
uh,
It didn't feel. Oh, okay. It didn't feel cringy to me. I felt
a
like
little bit.
black people adopt people all the time.
It wasn't the adoption. It was the fact that, like, the mom walked in and I thought that was her sister or her friend.
Well, I thought it was her mom. I mean, well, it is her mom for all intents and
Right.
purposes.
But I'm saying
But
I thought visually it
oh,
was her
she looks very
sister or her.
young.
That's what I mean. That was the
She
weird
looks
part.
very
Like, what's
young.
happening? Like, y'all best friends, and so you're a best friend adopted you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
But
all. That's the weird part
if
for me.
I'm around like Salnina, Rashida, like Mama Short called, like that's my daughter. You know what I mean? Like Angel, you know what I mean?
No, yes, I'm saying
But
the
we were
adoption
also, it's
isn't.
different though because we was kids. We've been raised together since
Yeah,
the
but y'all
womb.
didn't look like y'all was 2 years apart. That's what I'm saying. Like,
True.
that's
She
the
was like
weird
she was
part.
my mom. She was actually my mama's
That's
age
what
and my
I'm
mama's
saying.
son.
That's the weird. That was
That's
the
true.
weird part to me.
That's true. I enjoyed the conversation that they had with Mr. Jared. I enjoyed the conversation that Jared. It was weird because she set them up like they were so conservative, and then we had the conversation, and it didn't give
Yeah.
what she was
But I think
saying.
I think she was setting it up, knowing that just knowing that it's going to be a very different dynamic from what she was met with Jared's parents. What she was right, it was
It
because Jared's parents was like, "Oh
was.
my god," Jared's dad was
But you
crying,
you
like
want
you
to
know what
know
I mean?
why? Because I think it's something to trusting the adults that your children are.
Oh, for sure.
When you are like I tell people
Yeah, yeah,
all the time, like when decided that I was getting when I was making a transition in my life and deciding to move to LA and absolving everything in my life at the time, I remember like how like up in arms my mother was and how not my father was. But it was largely because he just was like, "You ain't made a bad decision since. So like, what am I gonna
yeah. It's
like
something
if
to
this
that.
what you want to do, fucking do it. I got your back." You know what I mean? Like there's something to saying that I did a good job raising these adults. And not to say that my mother didn't feel that way. She's a cancer. She's an eternal mother. You never grow up. Y'all know how that is. But I think that like my dad was just like in a space where like you guys are adults and you have made I we literally did everything our parents asked us to do. Went to college, graduated college. We were all like actual professionals, accountants, lawyers, whatever the case may be. And it was just like, do what y'all want to, you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to
Yeah,
say
some
to
parents
you?
just trust their kids a little bit more. Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I just trust you to do you, and I don't feel like I have to control the situation. And I think that that's what Jared was experiencing. Like,
yeah.
we want you to be happy, and it's okay. And I think that it was so beautiful. It was beautiful to see these Black people together for so many years, raising these big grown Black. It just was
It
beautiful.
was. It was great to watch.
It was great to watch, and it was more great to watch him kind of come in to himself. I want him to get a new barber and maybe rethink the
Or
little
maybe a
dangling.
barber, just
Did
one.
he say he cut hair?
I guess he did, but he can't. I mean, you can't cut. I don't know no barber that's worth his salt that walk around looking like rough
Jamal
around the edges.
sometimes be looking rough.
Uh, okay, we're not gonna.
I ain't
Okay,
gonna do my brother like
yeah,
that.
we're
My
not
brother
gonna.
don't be looking rough, y'all.
Okay, no, we're not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna do my brother like that. But no, my brother. If y'all, first of all, this is a commercial for my brother. If y'all in Philly, check out Maxwell Lounge Barbershop. That's on my brother.
West Philadelphia,
Um,
52nd Street.
he is lit, okay? But I'm saying all that to say, maybe he had to get everybody else together.
No, but I'm sorry.
I agree. It just was giving, it just was not
It's
giving
just
what it was
weird.
supposed to give, but they look beautiful together. And you can't have a dangly earring and not have a real good shape up.
You just
And that's
can't have
just
a
the
dangly
law.
earring at all. Just don't do it.
But the law says you can't have a dangly earring and not a shape up.
Just don't do it, please. Just don't do it,
That's just for the ancestors. But
please.
I really do enjoy Jared and watching Ayana. I think that she has really high expectations, and as she should, they are just getting to know each other. But I do think that she is like, I worry about her being insecure.
I worry about her being insecure 1,000%, and I also just worry about her
I don't know.
not being as open as she thinks she is. Like,
Yeah, because if he going out in the
because
street, bitch, I'm
go
going out
with
in the
him,
streets.
period. Because it's not, her whole issue with him wanting to go out or whatever is really not an issue, especially because he wanted you to go with him. He's
Literally.
inviting you to go with him.
Get you a
It can
kind of
be
Eddie Blitzer,
like, it's just,
okay, like your girl does, and hit the streets. Because sometimes I think she's an introvert,
and that's understandable,
but you gotta
but
go.
you are walking into a marriage, so this whole thing of like, well, you just got to stop doing what you're doing,
You
like,
don't even know what he's
you don't
doing.
even know what he's doing, number one. And it's also a thing where that's a space for you guys to enjoy time together,
Yeah.
right? So go with him, you know what I
And
mean?
I do kind of want her, and I mean this with all due respect, and I know you're going to tussle in the comments. I want her to get the fashions together.
I think that's having good friends, somebody to
And
help
I'm a
you.
good girlfriend. I'm just saying, like, the thing is that she worries about, she said in the beginning that she thinks that sometimes she comes off like a 13-year-old boy.
And but so
But
don't
she
dress like
gives
it.
that.
Yeah, don't like,
Yes.
do something to judge yourself. I don't, you know what I mean?
At the, and not in a way like I ain't saying you got to be beat. She's a natural beauty. certain things she doesn't have to do. But I'm saying, like, sexiness is something that you exude. Like, I don't think I'm the most beautiful person, but I think I'm a sexy woman. And I think that that's different. You know what I mean? Like, I think you exude. I don't know. You say that you don't want to be a 13-year-old boy because you give 13-year-old boy. And I don't want to reduce her to her aesthetic. I'm just saying.
I think that there's something to. First of all, I think you are the most beautiful woman. Number one. Number two, I don't. I think that there's something to understanding yourself and your presentation and then adapting to it, right? So if I think that I always look short, I'm going to do things that make me look a little taller. I'm not going to wear super baggy pants, right? Because
Yeah.
that can make me look a little shorter or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever your thing is, right? Understand your thing, right? And I don't think she understand, like, because just to say, like, yeah, I think some people view me as a little boy, but then you walk out the house with these baggy ass jeans on and a tank and a white beater, and it's like you're dressing like a little boy, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm
And
saying.
that's all I'm saying, honey. I'm saying, like, sometimes you gotta dress for the job you want. Okay?
Yeah,
Like, that's
a
all I'm
thousand
saying.
percent. Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? However, that has nothing to do with Jared and Ayana being together. I think that she's right to be a little bit off put when she said this shit about Mallory, like when he was talking about
but that's
having.
the insecurities coming through. Like, girl, like he ain't thinking about Mallory no more. Keep it moving.
We didn't know that, but I think you
We
know what
did.
though.
They were in the
It
moment
did give
talking
me
about something
secondhand
else.
embarrassment
Yeah,
though.
like
It
if I'm
did.
sitting here talking to you about you, I ain't talking about her.
But let me tell you something. In her defense, because you know, boo, I'm going to defend you. There's some shit I would have said too. Like, I'd have been like,
No, because
slow down. You hit a whole nother
and I'm
thing.
gonna tell you that
Because
you,
I'm the queen of doing
but
that.
I'm gonna tell you
Cut that
that
out.
that's also not what you would have done because you also don't. You also are more secure in yourself. You wouldn't even be giving another woman that much power.
Because he already know me.
You see what I'm saying? So you don't do stuff like that.
Yo, this
That's
rose
a
is
big
hitting.
insecure girl thing. Like,
But you know what though? Damn, that's real. You're right. That is something. You know what my father told me, and this is why we need good dads, y'all. My dad told me you are going to have powers, okay? And lucky for these mere mortals, you're going to use your powers for good and not evil. And he told me that when I was like a very young woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're beautiful. My daddy is like really like loving, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so smart. That's my dad. Like, full on. And I remember him telling me that. What movie is that from? Lucky for these mere mortals.
oh, I
I
have no
use my
clue.
powers for good and not evil.
I thought that was just from the book of Zar
Bus
Wilson.
motherfucking damn. What movie is that from? Do you want to know?
Yes.
Bill Bellamy, Love Jones.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Because let me tell you something. Always been that bitch. Never not been that bitch. And my thing is, what it's funny because as insecure, I've been very even now, like we all go through things. But if you just it's manifesting being a bad bitch is also a thing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I manifest bad bitchness. I'm that bitch. Like, I manifest it because sometimes I do not. I don't feel like that
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
You got to do that.
sometimes I don't feel like that bitch,
You
and I
have to
think
do that.
that that's what I want Ayana to do. You
Yes.
forever that bitch. You bad. You beautiful without any extras. Like, I mean, it's so hard to find a woman that stunning without doing any. Not even so hard. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Hmm.
Yes, it is. You're a stunning woman. You have beautiful skin.
Hmm.
You think you look like a 13-year-old boy. We, us, the delegation as aging, think that you look youthful. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I think that she's such a stunning woman. And not to reduce this conversation again to their looks, but I am so excited for them. And Joe said this to me. Joe said, I'm excited to see how they kind of like blossom together.
Yeah.
I don't even see Mallory in a purview now.
No, because ain't nobody thinking about Mallory.
It's kind of very clear. I think it's hard to, and I think that she is going. I'm excited to see where they are, guys, after this. So hopefully, are they going to do a reunion?
I think so, but I mean, I'm kind of leery about that because typically it doesn't take them that long to drop the reunion thing, especially because it's a
But
Netflix
you know they do it
thing.
weekly.
No, they haven't been. Not this. They did part one and part two. That's why we did it like that.
Oh, I thought they did it.
No, they
Drop.
dropped the first half, part one, and then they dropped the second half.
I
So
thought
that's
it
why I'm
said
like,
new episodes weekly.
no,
Oh, okay.
no, no, no.
Oh.
Yeah. Because we watched them, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, okay. So, but maybe we'll get a reunion. I hope so.
I
Y'all
think
know they
so
like
because
to
they did
drag
one
stuff
last
out.
year. They did
Yeah,
one last
yeah,
year,
they
so
did.
maybe they just taking a little long to do it, and maybe they have to film it still, or whatever. I don't know, but we'll see the reunion, and then if it's worth something, we'll come back and do a little reunion video.
The last thing I want to talk about is how they said the same thing about crying thug
Wow, that was
tears.
weird, but also synergy, man. That's why I said
Synergy. When
like,
you're rocking with somebody, bro.
yeah, 1,000%.
But it also shows, and I'm not saying this, I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way. I really hope anybody who's here feels included in our conversation and everything like that, like whatever race you are. But I do think that it's something too when you're with your people, man. Sometimes you just
It's different.
it feel different.
It's
You can
different.
say certain things. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all subscribe, keep sharing, and if you're from Twitter, let us know. I want to know. I don't have a Twitter. Joe does. He's better at that, and because I don't get it, and I'm long winded. So bust down. Is that funny to you?
Yeah.
Sometimes you know what? I'm about to be long winded
I
again.
know.
Bust down, subscribe to this channel, okay? And we'll see you beautiful episode next time.